Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotion for you this Wednesday. Hope you're doing all right today. I want to start with a quick reading from David Kuntz's Quiet Mind and share this meditation with you on what drives us crazy. Anger is a kind of temporary madness, St. Basil of the 4th century. Road rage is a symptom of a temporary madness that is, I believe, a direct result of our overbusy lives. We are simply overwhelmed by all we have to do, and therefore we take it out on the drivers who block our way for 5 seconds. We feel we don't have those 5 seconds to spare. Imagine. So we are enraged when they're stolen from us by another driver. Road rage is a madness I experience too often in myself as well as others, so I've devised a special practice for getting in the car. When you're seated in the car, door closed, seatbelt fastened, key in the ignition, ready to go, but before you start the car, close your eyes. Take several deep, slow breaths. Sit in silence for a few seconds. Another deep breath, and remember, you want to drive safely. Take account of the weather, the road, the time of day, the amount of traffic, your route. You want to drive defensively and kindly. You are responsible for what you do. You will try to allow others to go where they want to go rather than fighting them. Those are your choices, your values. Your first response to a rude driver will be a deep breath and to remember that the act of rudeness is not personal and says nothing about you, and that you don't really know what it says about them either. You note if you're late or if you have sufficient time to arrive at your destination, and if that takes into account the too frequent traffic jams. Another deep breath, open your eyes, and start the car. That literally takes a mere 15 or 20 seconds, but it's not always easy, even to spend those seconds. Truth also impels me to say I don't always do it, but when I do, it always helps. Saints, I'm sure that you have experienced road rage just like me. It's something that we just can't seem to control. There's something about getting into a car, getting behind the wheel that shuts down the higher reasoning processes of our brain, and we start to act in ways that are not consistent with who we are. I heard this story just recently. Man and wife were driving in the car on this 2-lane road. They were going, in one direction, and all of a sudden in the other direction, this other car came flying by, just screaming past way too fast, and they were shocked. And then the husband swung the car around and started chasing this other car. And the wife was upset. She was anxious. She didn't know why her husband was acting like this until they got all the way home. They followed this driver all the way back to their own house. It turned out it was their own son, their teenage son, who was driving unsafely, and the father immediately took the keys from him and said, "You've lost your privilege of driving because you have proven you are not responsible enough to handle it." Now, it's debatable whether or not what the father did was any more responsible in chasing him, but the point is we lose our cool very quickly on the road. For whatever reason, when we are driving and something happens that is not the way that we want it to be, we jump to all kinds of conclusions about what the other person's motivations are, what's going on. When we can't get where we're trying to go in the time that we think it should take, we get frustrated and we lose control over ourselves. We start acting in ways that are not consistent with our own values, with who we are in other situations at other times. And it's not just when we're driving. It happens often when we're driving for whatever strange reason, whatever that act of being behind the wheel does to us. But, sometimes we get into an argument, in a conversation with somebody who we love, or we get frustrated with a deadline at work, or we get upset because of a bad grade that we get at school. There are all kinds of things that set us off and turn us into people that we wouldn't recognize in other moments in our lives. And so what David's recommending here is that when we recognize we're going into one of those situations that might have the capacity to set us off and transform us in a negative way, it's take a moment, center ourselves, recall ourselves back to our own better values and sensibilities. Remember what it is that we think is important, and remember that whatever happens to us in this stressful moment is not a personal attack, is not indicative of of what the other person really is or believes or values. It's something that we have to be prepared for so that we don't respond to it in an inappropriately negative way. Saints, do you find that that is something easy to do? Is that something that you've ever tried? Just taking a moment to kind of pregame and get yourself ready for a moment that you know might be stressful or might be difficult. If you've never tried it before, I encourage you to do that this week. That's your devotional, and I hope it's helpful. I hope it's something worth thinking about. I hope you are doing well, staying healthy. I'll be praying for you, Saints. Please keep praying for me, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care.